You won't be able to put space in your mouth on this episode. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to. But you probably should. Hey, you probably are. That's why we like you. It's a great week, great day, great time to be drinking whiskey. But I wanted to offer one way you can support us this week, especially because we hit this week, very recently, we hit on Apple Podcasts. We hit over 50,000 listens for the podcast, which is pretty cool. That being said, we haven't gotten a review on Apple Podcasts in like over a year. And so if you have been listening for a while, you're hooked after that 4th episode and you're looking for a way to support us, doesn't have to always be monetarily like Patreon or something like that. You can support us by just writing us a review on Apple Podcasts. So that's the business this week. And we'll get right into it. Bryan, I'm excited to drink what we're drinking today. But before I talk about what we're drinking or anything behind it, I wanted to know what you're up to. How's it going? How's Emma and all that?
Yeah, it's going well. I phrased it earlier today that it's almost like a bracing for like a calm before the storm kind of thing. Like things seem to be going well.
Nice.
And she's eating a lot.
Nice.
I think she's eating more than like your average 6-week-old, 6-week-old, where she's eating like 6 ounces of feed, and then she's sleeping like she's sleeping just about as many ounces as she eats in a feed.
Wow.
It's like if she eats 5 ounces, she'll sleep for 5 hours. And so like last night so let me also say we started to like develop a rhythm here where before, like when Sam and I are ready for bed, we will wake Emma up, even if it's only been like 2 hours,
and give her that up 8 ounces
to top her off and see how long she goes. And so like last night we did a feed at like 10:30. And I don't know, 5 ounces or something, and she slept from like 10:30 to 11 to like 5:30.
Nice.
Yeah, so we both
sleep
pretty much
without any issues is like the biggest gift at that stage.
However, I have heard that they go into something called a sleep regression or something where they like forget how to sleep after a while. So calm before the storm, I'm bracing for a period of time here where she suddenly forgets how to sleep.
And it's like you take every day as a gift, it's like, I don't know, like even Gray in recent months has had like sleep regression stuff, but it's not that bad anymore. And then one day you'll just be like, I just got a whole month of like all night sleep, which is amazing. But every baby's different. Maybe I shouldn't have even said that because maybe that won't happen. But
well,
usually they say things will cool, and like things will fit your schedule a little more. But there's always what's the word? There's always regressions, and there's always just bumps, and there's hills and valleys throughout.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool though.
And today was actually the first day for our nanny share that we got going on with Katie and Curtis. So with Katie and Curtis, we enlisted the services of a nanny to watch both of our kids at the same time together on Thursdays and Fridays. Sam got to go drop Emma off at Katie and Curtis's. And so she's hanging out with Reed all day today.
Wow. Are you gonna switch up the places? Like, is it gonna be your place every now and then? That's cool.
Yep. Thursday, Friday there, and then Thursday, Friday here. Yeah, every other week.
Were you supposed to say his name?
We'll bleep it out if not. But I think they're good.
That out.
No, I'll check with them. It's all good.
Okay, cool. No, that's good. But yeah, dude. So this week, last week, Gray had hand, foot, and mouth, and no one else got it, luckily. But it's kind of like you're supposed to get like blisters around your mouth or your hands or your feet or all the above, and maybe even more than that. But she didn't really get blisters. She kind of got like little chicken pox almost all across her body. And we asked the doctor a few times. They're like, no, it's probably not chicken pox. It's probably hand, foot, and mouth. And we're like, okay. But we had to take her out of daycare for over a week, basically. From Wednesday to Wednesday. We brought her back to daycare today. Today's Thursday. And then tomorrow, since Hurricane Debbie or whatever is hitting the Virginia tomorrow, they're like, well, sorry, daycare's closed tomorrow. And it's not even that bad. Like, it's really not even that bad. And but Heather was very frustrated that like Gray we've had to take care of Gray all day. And we got my mother-in-law involved yesterday because we needed to work. But I had to take 2 half days this week and like take care of Gray. But I'll tell you this, it was very fun. And Gray is starting to become her own little person. Nice. And that is awesome. One of my favorite things is that you'll say, Gray, can I get a hug? And she'll be like, okay. And she'll like walk right into you and then like fall into you basically. And it's amazing. Nice. Yeah, those little, parenting things are dope.
Yeah. So you got some car difficulty too, didn't you?
That was my wife's car. Yep. Yeah. So some things that came up that like yesterday I needed to like drive everyone around. And then this morning I had to drive everyone to daycare and to my wife to work. But luckily she has a family car from her brother and sister-in-law that they're letting her borrow. So that's nice. And then yeah, but that's like annoying. It's always frustrating. And it's one of those weeks for me, not that I'm kind of stealing the, how are you doing? My mind is racing lately. Like I can't stop the mind racing. It's not like worries so much. It's not like bad or good things. It's just my mind is everywhere lately. It's hard to like stop it and slow it down and just like chill.
Just because you got a lot going on right now?
I don't know. I don't even know. Little things. No, it's not even that. Like, not even a lot's going on. Like, it's just chill.
Have you had caffeine?
Like, no, that's the other thing. And no chais either. Was that you? That was you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're the one who taught me that chais, or not even dirty chais. Like, chais have a lot of caffeine in them comparatively to decaf coffee or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, none of that. But you're that's a good question though, Bryan. You are getting into the mind and life of Cole by asking questions.
Just looking out.
Yeah, but it sucks. I hate feeling like I can't like chill out. But it's not like bad. Like sometimes I just get in this mindset that's like, I want to be productive, I want to do things, I want to like get things done. But then there's times where it's just like, chill out, Cole. Like there's nothing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
What's it gonna take? What's it gonna take for you to come out of that? Do you need like a whole day to yourself to run a bunch of errands?
Oh, that'd
like,
be dope.
What does it for you?
That would do it. 100%. That always does it. I can like, and I'll just get everything done. Right. I don't know though, because I would probably. Well, the other thing is that Gray's got to be home tomorrow, so I gotta like. It's like these tracks. You got these tracks in your mind, and each track is presenting something, and it's hard to like derail all the tracks. Right. But one of the tracks now is we got to figure out, and I got to be somewhat available, whether it's my wife is home tomorrow or my mother-in-law is home tomorrow or someone's home tomorrow. I just got to be like, that's like in my mind and stuff like that. So it's weird, but I wish. I'm always kind of like restless. It's to a fault sometimes, but it's also like to my benefit sometimes. But this feels more. It feels like, I just can't like slow things down. And I say like, I wish I could just chill. Like, I mean that as like, I wish I could just slow the pace of where my mind is going all the time. So yeah.
It sounds like you like to stay on top of things, but you just don't have as much time.
Yeah.
Right now, kind of.
That could be it too. So, yeah. And I've had something to do every night this week. So that stinks.
That does stink.
I think, man, there's so much going on.
So is it like raining a bunch right there now, I assume?
It is. Can you hear it?
No, I can't hear
Okay,
it, but
good.
just you mentioned earlier,
Nice. And it'll get worse, I think.
yeah,
But it's like in and out of
because
like
the worst is yet to come, kind of from the
um
hurricane.
of the rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get more of the residuals of Hurricane Debbie. Tomorrow should be worse than today, I hear. But then it
Oh,
should clear
dang.
up. And
Yeah.
I'm excited though. I'm taking a few buddies out on a shooting range,
Oh,
outdoor
cool.
shooting range, and blowing up some cans on Saturday. So maybe that'll help.
Yeah. Surely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. How's work? How's other things besides? You don't have to answer the work one, but how's other stuff besides
Now
family?
work's good. I'm getting on top of things here, and
Nice.
there's always kind of a flux and ebb and flow of
Mm-hmm.
how much work everyone on the team has to do, and there's a good balance of if somebody's a little light on work, we can kind of help each other out and stuff.
Nice.
So definitely got ideas for ways people can help me out currently, and so yeah, that's good. Just trying to get people lined up with stuff to do and staying busy myself. So that's pretty much how work's going.
Do you ever have like a day where you're like, I could pull off all of today without getting anything done?
I could just be a total slacker all day today. Is
Yeah.
that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, totally. Everybody has those days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I get that every now and then. It's not often these days, but every now and then
Right.
I'll be like, I'll get stuff done, but I don't even need to. Like,
Oh, I see what
what's
you're
on my
saying.
plate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I could get all of this done tomorrow and none of it done today. Or, some days I'll just be like, I'll just get a little bit done today, a little bit done tomorrow. So
And no one would care. Yeah.
no one would notice.
They're
Yeah.
like, none of this is due until the end of next week. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I hate to like procrastinate, but sometimes I'll just get it done the next day instead of by the end of the, deadline or something like that. But it doesn't
Oh
happen
yeah,
too often.
well,
And I'm not
yeah, well, my
no
boss listens to
slacker.
these. My
What were you
boss
saying?
listens to these episodes, so
Yeah.
so
He'll
I work
totally listen to
all the
just
time,
this episode too. And he'll be like,
nonstop.
oh, Cole's a slacker.
Yeah.
No.
I don't even eat lunch. I just work straight through lunch every day. No problem.
Yeah. I always work, no matter what. I find work. I do work. Work. That's it. Yeah. What are you
drinking?
On?
I asked you first.
Stag, baby, batch 17.
Nice.
So you look
That's
behind me and you see all these stags, and one's a barrel pick, but then the other two are different batches. I think 23 batches. And I was thinking about this today. I was like, if I were Bryan, they would all be open.
Yeah.
And not in a like that's a very admirable thing. It's like, hey, they're all different.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like part of me just wants to finish this one and then move on to the next one. But it's like they're all different, which is cool. But I'll get to them all.
Yeah, and I like the comparison. I like
Totally.
it's a weird thing where some people believe in the neck pour, and I'm not so much a subscriber to that.
Scientifically, it just doesn't make sense.
I am a subscriber to the idea of open it, taste it, and then like take a mental break from it, so that the next time you go into it is like the time where like you have your expectations in check. You've had it once before. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into. You know where to be honing in with your palate. That's kind of how I am with the whole neck pour shenanigans. So yeah, like heck yeah, I'm opening whatever I've got and then try it. And then cork it and maybe don't even drink it again for like a month or two because I've got other things and whatever. But then at least it's open, and then when I come back to it, I kind of know what to expect. So that's what I do. And by the way, it continues. It's raining water in Virginia. It's raining stags still in Phoenix.
I've seen Reddit posts and people are just still getting stags. I mean, heck, we talk about Brian Duncan.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Maybe
well,
we should,
speaking of, speaking of, we are locking that down currently, where Brian Duncan might be donating some stag to a drink along sample. So patron sounds like a computer man. Patrons will get to have some stag and a drink along sample. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Patrons.
Patrons, that's the best. But remind me, which batches of Stag do you have? You might have to get up and look, but it's going to be worth it because Bryan might be able to facilitate a different batch if we so desire, and we may as well tailor it to what you don't have.
23B and 23C are the other ones besides that one barrel pick you got me.
Okay. So yeah, those are actually the two that that Bryan's got to be able to help us out with.
Hey,
so,
technically,
yeah.
I haven't drinking either one of them, so
nice.
At least to my recollection.
We'll stick with 23B then. So it'll probably be 23B that we get from Bryan. So again,
I love a good Stag.
we got some Dunkin' dings. However, let's get some other dings too here. So I'm entry buzzing. I'm doing a dual entry buzz again.
Ooh.
First one is the we did an episode on this, the Southern Bourbon, the cask strength.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sipping a little bit of this, but I've also been excited to compare even just that against a sample here from the Max, the myth, the legend, Max, Whiskey with Max. He sent me a Bruzel single barrel sample from 13th Colony cask strength. Yep.
Nice.
Cask strength bourbon that was selected by Bruzel. And so far the Bruzel one's got a little bit of a fruity, kind of like a peachy apricot thing that I'm getting a little more. And it's got a thicker, creamier mouthfeel. The 13th Colony cask strength has more like deeper nutty and a thinner mouthfeel. They're both in the same realm. It's not like one's wacky compared to the other one, but a little more viscosity that I'm really liking on the Bruzel one.
Dude, 13th Colony's got some viscosity.
Yeah, well,
if I have oh no, it's empty. I was wondering if I had any left of the 2024 cask strength.
Yeah,
but it is empty by my feet.
I do believe there is a pool sample at least, so maybe that'll randomly come up at some point.
That is true. Yes. Yeah, that'd be dope. That was a good one. Yeah, especially for the price.
Yeah, and what we're drinking today, though, the 13th Colony 15th anniversary. You've never sipped this, correct?
Never sipped it.
I'm very excited for you to try this.
Oh, good. I'm into that. Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we scooch over to the next segment so that we can drink it even faster? We'll take a quick break and we'll be back and we'll talk about some history. So here we go to break. We're back. Some quick notes to get to. Shout out. I just want to give a random Patreon shout out. Patrick Smith. What a baller.
Nice.
He's from the Phoenix area.
Yeah. He came to Adventurous Stills when we did the tour.
That's right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Adventurous Stills in Tempe. 13th Colony, 15th anniversary bourbon. This is a batch 555. This is not our first 13th Colony Distilleries product we've done on the podcast. That's one of them right in front of us. We've done only two others, though, and they were good ones. Episode 291, Bryan and I drank one of their Hazmat single barrel ryes. Episode 309, only 10 episodes ago, we drank their 2024 limited release cask strength bourbon. Both great. And technically, episode 312, we drank Bryan's birthday present.
Oh, yeah.
Though we had the episode about Knob Creek 10-year rye. We've talked about the distillery on those episodes. We talked about the potential controversy, but I've kind of dug into it, and it's really not that big a deal. Like, it's like people are freaking out about it. Oh, it's like, dude, they're like legit.
Maybe I should wait till the end of your news, but do you have any news coming up or history coming up about any changing of wording on labels?
No.
Okay.
But I will hear
Keep going then.
I
might dig a little while you're doing history.
Yeah, go for it. But today we're going to talk about aging whiskey and oak. And why are we doing that? Well, we'll keep it short and sweet, but because this whiskey is a case study on the effect of temperature on aging whiskey. So really quick, 13th Colony is based in Americus, Georgia, Southern No denying that. In fact, it is in southern Georgia, and Georgia itself is pretty darn south. I don't think most people would ever think Florida is south, or it's like southern.
Right.
So it's kind of like one of the most southern places is America's Georgia.
It's
But
like
anyway,
the heart of the South. Like the heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's something that we, and likely you, listener or viewer, have seen a trend in for whiskeys made in hot climates. This even applies to like things like Indian whiskey, which is very hot climate. I'll give a few American examples too. Whiskey Del Bach, Garrison Brothers, J.T. Mellick, 13th Colony, all hot climates. And aging doesn't seem to take as long for those distilleries to produce dark and complex whiskey. Why? Because aging is massively impacted by weather and temperature. Now, I hate the term speed aging. Hate it. Because there is no substitution for time. But certain things have a stronger impact on whiskey than others. But when it comes down to it, wood reacts to liquid and temperature. Sorry, I lost my wood reacts to liquid and temperature, and sometimes a solid combination of the two. There are 5 big impacts on that oak wood has on a whiskey. There are more, but these are the big ones, and I'm going to go through them all. 1, extraction. Especially with charred barrels, a whiskey takes on the flavors of the wood and the charred wood. Think of it like a tea, but instead of tea leaves, you got charred wood. It takes on that kind of flavor of the barrel. Secondly, we have oxidation. Right. Now, technically, oxygen is in the barrel, and technically, oxygen can seep into the barrel over time. Oxygen can have a strong impact on whiskey. You ever leave a whiskey out for a day? I'm sure you have. Like a glass.
It turns gross in the bottom of the
it's like
blend.
Weird. It gets cloudy and like weird.
Yeah. Like gritty, grainy, disgusting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's been oxidized, similar to like leaving out an apple. It just changes, like chemically, some of it changes.
Yeah. Right.
And there's actually chemical changes happening within the oxygen as it comes in contact with the whiskey. And it's often not a great thing for oxygen to be exposed to whiskey and aging. Thirdly, we have evaporation. Over time, whiskey, which chemically is made out of mostly just alcohol and water, can evaporate from the barrel grains and get taken up into whiskey heaven. Now, it's also known as the angel share, but evaporation loss applies to both water and alcohol. But in hot places and hotter climates, it is generally seen that water evaporates more than alcohol through the barrels. Leaving the aging liquid developing a higher proof because of more alcohol content per volume. But in colder places like Scotland, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you will drop in proof when you age it a long time.
Yeah.
So fourthly, we have filtration. Is that like chill filtration? Hey, that's somewhat the name of the podcast. But
ding,
another
ding,
thing,
ding.
Ding ding. Another thing that can happen with the wood is that the barrel will soak in the whiskey and filter certain impurities from the general product. Like hold it in the barrel as opposed to in the liquid, some of that stuff. So over time, those things can happen. And lastly, just general maturation. Time, good old-fashioned time. This chemically changes a lot in the whiskey. You ever hear the term esters, Bryan?
Yeah, actually from Nick Taylor.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he talks about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And fermentation often produces acids, sometimes like acetic acid. Not in super concentrated amounts, but there are basically small levels of vinegar in your aging whiskey. Time really kicks off chemical processes to make those acids turn into esters. Esters produce flavors, everything from caramel to tropical fruits. But the longer you age something, typically the more the esters develop. That being said, all those 5 things are amplified with temperature shifts. Oak barrels breathe, they expand and they contract with temperature shifts. And the greater the shifts, the greater the impact. And that's why this whiskey we're drinking today is so dark. because this week, America's Georgia has highs in the 90s with minimum humidity at 55% all week. Very hot and very humid. But it reaches up to or down to the 30s in the winter. So you're getting a lot in Georgia. You're getting a big shift. Lots of shifts all year for them. But let's figure out what we're drinking today specifically. This is batch number 555. It is not a single barrel. It is a blend of 25 barrels, intentionally selected by Arthur Graham, the master distiller. Proof is nearly hazmat, but it is 139.2 proof. Hot. Since the company was founded in 2009, 2024 represents the 15th year for them. So this is a celebration of that. 8 years, 9 months aged. It is bourbon. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that yet. And it is very rare. Bryan is lucky to have a bottle, as there were only 3,330 produced. Total wine price, the suggested retail from 13th Colony was $170. Do you know what secondary is running for this kind of thing?
$425.
Oh, nice.
$450, $425.
But yeah, 13th Colony is getting much more of a reputation, a good reputation for the products they're making. And so it doesn't surprise me that they are getting a higher secondary value on some of their special editions. So let me pour out some for this homie. Nice. I have my Glencairn Copita glasses again. I kind of dig these.
Nice. I got a cork pop for you.
Cork it. There was nothing.
Oh, you didn't hear anything?
No.
It was a nice mellow toom.
Maybe that was why I didn't hear it. So mellow.
Ooh, and look at this. Look at this. 13th Colony sent me one of these too.
Oh, nice. Were they the ones that sent it for free?
Yeah, I think so. No, that was Kings County.
Oh, that's right.
13th Colony I did pay for when they were sending samples for
but
us.
Still, they sent it.
2024. Yes. I was not able to confirm anything, but I did see people online chatting about the 13th Colony labels saying something about Indiana now. I wasn't able to fully make sense of it, but supposedly 13th Colony bottles labels now say something about Indiana.
I could see that because that's part of the controversy is that like they would avoid as much as possible, but there's no way that some of this stuff was all made on site. But they even mentioned on their website that they contract distill a specific recipe for their products. So it makes sense that a place like MGP of Indiana would do such a thing.
This on the nose is very ethanol forward. There is definitely like first and foremost, without being ready for it, as soon as it hits my nose, I'm like, bam, that is there's heat on this, there's ethanol, there is bitterness on the nose. But once you're used to that and you're starting to look through, you see very, very deep sugars here. See a lot of very, very dark, the darkest of registers, borderlining on like Garrison Bros level stuff, pecan caramel stuff.
That's exactly my biggest note, pecan. So on the palate, it was kind of unidimensional, not in a bad way. It was great notes, but it was like kind of just one bourbon-y note to me. I couldn't really put my finger on too much besides that. But yes, very, very alcohol, ethanol forward on the nose. On the palate, very ethanol forward on the front of the palate. But on the finish and the mid palate, it's like very pecans, pecans, caramely. It's like some of those, notes you get from Garrison Brothers, but a little more developed, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100% agree. Because Garrison gets to be like flashy with their flavors. Their flavors are so flavorful that like it almost gets to be more about flashy flavors than actual like legitimately good and well developed whiskey. This there was an age statement on this, 8 years 9 months,
8 years 9 months.
The 8 years shows relative to like a Garrison Brothers like 3 to 4 year
maxes out about 5 or 6.
The first thing that hits my palate on the landing is mouth drying. It wicks moisture out of my mouth right away. Kind of tannic here and very like wicking with mouth moisture. Oh, lovely notes. The right after that, the heat kind of starts to ramp up. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, it's getting hotter. How hot is this going to get? And then that heat levels off mid palate, and then just like a pecan bouquet just explodes. It's so pecans with a little bit of caramel there on the finish. Finish doesn't last like extraordinarily long, but it is still long enough to be like, I easily peg this over Stag. And actually, now that I think about it, I forgot I blinded this against GTS 2022. Oh, wow. And I personally preferred this over GTS 2022.
Yeah, there is a little more like there is a little bit more richness to this than your typical Stag. Stag can be rich, but this is viscous rich. Stag can be fruity, apple pie to the max. In terms of like high proof apple pie. But this is more nutty. I wouldn't exactly call this fruity, but it is brown sugary throughout, which I really dig.
Yeah. And second sip, the finish is lacking a little. Well, let me rephrase. The finish isn't necessarily lacking. It's just not as beautiful as a finish as the palate is. With the pecans on the palate, it's like it leaves you really hoping that the finish is going to take you places, but the finish just kind of like slowly ramps down through the end of the sip. So the not a very extraordinary finish on here that takes you to another level. The finish just serves to round out the palate, and that's it.
Did you ever I don't know if I ever asked you this. You ever seen Flight of the Conchords?
Oh yeah, dude. We talked about Flight of the Conchords.
Okay, good. Yeah. You ever see the episode or even just the clip where Brett is like dealing with self-esteem issues and Jermaine keeps coming to him in his dreams as David Bowie? You remember that?
I don't
There's this one where it's like one of the episodes, I think it's like first season, but it's one of the episodes he like Jermaine is dressed up as like Labyrinth David Bowie, and he's like, he's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm David Bowie from the 1986 movie Labyrinth. It's like just so good. But then he's like, I gotta go soon, Brett. I got this party to go to. Everyone's waiting for me. And they have this conversation, and then he's like leaving. David Bowie is leaving. And then Brett's like, hey, one more thing, David Bowie. And he's like, yes, Brett. He's like, where's your party? In space, Brett. In space. And he like fades into the background. But I don't know why I brought that up, because you basically were like, this whiskey like take you places, and I was like space, and that's where everything went in my mind.
Yes, you're welcome, everyone. 13th Colony 15th Anniversary doesn't quite take you to space, unfortunately.
In space, Brett.
But it gets you close though. It's upper atmosphere for sure.
Yeah, but you won't be able to put space in your mouth on this episode. Our longtime listeners will know about that one.
Was that Ardbeg or who was that?
Yeah, it was Ardbeg Supernova, where I originally thought at least a portion of that batch was in space, but it was just a celebration of space.
Well, no, somebody sent something to space.
Yeah. No, they sent like a vial of whiskey to space. But the Supernova release was a celebration that they sent it to space. It wasn't involved in any way with the whiskey they made.
Gotcha.
Me and Adam were like, we're about to put space in our mouth. And then I found out it wasn't the case. So.
Yes. Man, imagine what the price tag would be. How heavy is a 55-gallon barrel? And like,
Yeah. But
surely
even if they mixed that vial into the whole batch, I'd be like, this whiskey's been to space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would
in
be
my tiny
no,
little...
they're doing that. Remember there was one friggin' company that was gonna do that. It was one of our Whiskey World News like a year or two ago. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, yeah. I definitely remember that. It was a while ago.
I forgot about that until now. But that'd
I
be
love that though.
money.
Assuming
like
a uniform distribution of the vial in the 55-gallon barrel. Yeah.
Atoms.
A few of these atoms.
They're molecules. Yeah, that's it. Have been to space. Therefore, you've been to space.
Oh,
that's how it works.
That's a good. What whiskey would you choose? Instagram poll. Given the opportunity, would you take the risk to go to space?
Yeah. No, I would. I mean, it depends on the
whiskey.
Depends on the. I mean, if 1 in 20 people are dying, I might reconsider. But like, if 1 in 100 people are dying, I'll probably take that.
Oh yeah, right. There's got to be a line there. It's like, at what point will I accept the risk if there's an X% chance of me dying to go to space?
Ooh, this is good with water.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'll do that. Oh no, I don't have my water.
It
dropper.
improves it. Oh, do your thing.
No.
I'll talk about it though. Those pecan notes mellow out in a really good way with just a few drops of water. I think I actually prefer this with water, just a few drops, because the heat substantially decreases with a few drops. But that pecan note gets more richer, gets more brown sugary. Ooh, this is good. I like it.
Oh yeah, okay. So like, rather than just like a bitter, like plain pecan, now it's like a sugared pecan.
It's like a pecan pie, baby.
Pecan. I'm about to take a water sip here. But the nose though, is borderline coal sniffable. The I can really get my nose in here.
Almost hazmat, you know?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I
probably
put about 4 or 5 drops of water in this pour. That's probably an ounce. So
yeah, go for it. I didn't give nose notes on the water pour. It is vapory to me. Like, it's like I can't sniff it too hard because I'll cough if I sniff that too hard. But it's good.
Dude,
Did you ever
totally
try it
agree.
with water yet?
Yep. I really like the water palette.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. The neat palette, the intensity of the mid palette, I think I explained, like, you're like, oh, how hot is this going to get? And then it levels off, and then the pecans show up. With the water, it doesn't have like how hot is this going to get? The intensity stays very constant throughout the entire sip. It brings the peak of the mid palate down so that you just get a much more pleasant experience and much more even experience throughout the sip.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah. I like that it is really, really good, really sweet, but also not fruity. I love fruity. Fruity is probably my favorite notes. In general, like appley, I love George T. Stagg. But I really dig that this is very sweet, but also not fruity, because you don't always get that with like good whiskey. And this is a great whiskey. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this and then I'm gonna drop a cube.
Yeah, and not as tannic with water. Not as moisture wicking with water, and a little peppery note that I don't necessarily remember. Like, as the finish just kind of lingers, I feel like I just ate something really peppery. That's
totally. Yeah, I get that
late
too.
on the finish. Take a sip of this Bruzel now too.
Do it.
Bruzel, so the Bruzel nose is very butter creamy.
Oh, cool.
Butter, cream, vanilla on the nose. Way more of a traditional traditional bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the viscosity is nowhere close. In that the 15th anniversary is just like thick and heavy, but it makes the Bruzel taste light. So I almost don't even want to drink the 2024 cast drink after this.
Totally.
But yeah, so like assuming that the Bruzel is like a decent single barrel bourbon, it's solid, but the 15th anniversary is maybe 2 levels above what a standard single barrel bourbon is.
Yeah. Let me give this one more hit with the ice. I don't want to judge it yet off the first sip.
Oh, good. You're icing. Cool. I'll do a last water sip here too. But I mean, again, the nose is just so much more pleasant. So much more pleasant with water. It's rounded out a lot more.
This, I don't think it's better with ice. I think it's the worst of the 3 pours, to be honest. I wouldn't say it's bitter, but it's like almost bitter with the ice. But the water was very good. The water spread it out in a really good way. This is, it's like on the verge of bitter, just to the point where it's not unenjoyable or not enjoyable, but it's almost not enjoyable.
Nice. I will. I'll do a tiny sip of this. I poured just the smallest bit in my Glen. I'll throw a cube in there and swirl it and slam it real quick just to get the ice take.
Go back.
Oh, have we talked about before? We take a sip and go right afterwards. I'm about to monologue, but I'm also about to drop an ice cube in here, which I wanted to do quick. Maybe I won't drop my ice yet. So Sam and I have this thing where I think it originated from a TV show on Netflix called Black Mirror. Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever watched
seen one episode?
Any?
Yeah.
Did you watch season 1, episode 1?
No.
Okay,
I watched the season with what's her name? Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's
actually
actually my favorites. One of the ones that stuck with me.
That's what people said. Really they're like, if you're gonna watch one, maybe this is one of them.
Okay. Well, the other one then, if you ever watch one more, watch the episode called "Hang the DJ." That one's my favorite one.
Nice.
I won't tell you anything about it because it's better if you just
who's
know
in
nothing. But I do really like the Bryce Dallas Howard one. The season 1, episode 1 is pretty graphic, and it turns a lot of people off of the show right away. I loved it. I thought it was just raw and real. And that's what got me hooked. But anyway, it is a little disgusting. I'll give you that. Why am I saying this? There was an episode. Oh, it is the Hang the DJ episode where 2 people are dating and one and everything's good. They're in a honeymoon phase. Everything's so fun. They love each other. And then the very first thing that starts to set that person off, to discover an ick, discover an ick about the other person is literally every time they take a sip of anything, they go, right after the sip. And so and that's what made us realize Sam doesn't do it every time, but Sam does it frequently enough that now we'll catch it and she'll do it, and then we'll look at each other and remember that episode. So when you do it, it reminds me of that too. So thanks.
So I only do it with seltzers typically, or really cold drinks. But
extremely refreshing drinks.
Yeah, the fun thing is that Gray, she loves that. I will intentionally do it to Gray, and she'll be like, "It's so cute."
So does she do it with her own drinks too?
She'll do it. And I'll be like, and I'll look at her. I'm like, and she'll be like, "It's so stinking cute."
That's adorable. Ice Nose, getting back to notes, but before my ice melts too much, Ice Nose is dry and sawdusty. Actually, I'm getting a sawdust note on the nose.
Yeah. This is good. I dig this.
If I was to ever almost get any fruit notes on the palate, it's with ice. Because the ice completely covers up all the ethanol heat.
Okay.
You get a lot of dry oak on the palate and a sweetness that almost gets to fruit territory, but really no, it's a dry sweet wood, and that's it.
Nice.
Ice is, you used the word one note earlier on the palate. I think it was your first sip, so it was like your hot
Microsoft
take.
OneNote.
It was like your hot take right at the beginning. I would
Yeah.
say ice really reduces this to one note. So
Yeah.
not that people interested in this episode needed to be told this, but maybe don't put ice in your
Yeah. I would try to dissuade you from that. Yeah. It just, but definitely try it with water. It's very worth. I mean, water was the best pour to me.
100%. I put about 5 drops in 1 ounce, and I really, really liked it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do the math. Do the math on what my resultant proof is for 5 drops in 1 ounce, but I'm not going to do that right
now. I love that math because it's not simple. It's like, okay, so there's water in the drop, but there's water in the whiskey, but not all water in the whiskey. Therefore,
well, at least the whiskey already has a certain ABV. So, have you thought about rating it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 9.3. I think this is incredible. Like, really, really good whiskey. And it makes sense that like Arthur Graham would set aside these amazing barrels for a special edition such as this. That being said, I think I'd give it A to A+ rating, right between the two. I think this is up there. Like I don't know about beating George T. Stagg in general for me, especially some of the better George T. Staggs I've had. But it beats a lot of Stags, I would say. So very special. If you're able to get your hands on a bottle, I would recommend it. Maybe not for $4.50, but But then again, George T. Stagg's running for like what these days for like last year's Stag?
Actually, the volume was a lot larger on last year's GTSs, and so secondary on last year's GTSs is down in the 650, 675 range.
Whoa.
Yeah. Though I will say 2022 was so well received, it's still in the 850, almost 900 range. Yeah.
Not surprised.
That being said,
maybe that'll be my next seek it out one, a 2016 George T. Stagg.
Why 2016?
Oh my gosh, it's the best one I've ever had.
Yeah?
It's a 144.1.
Don't even dream.
It was like, no, I believe it, yeah. But it was top 5 bourbons I've ever had in my life. Easily.
Totally believe you. I'm pretty sure secondary on that one. I've seen it. The Mega Hazmat one is pretty close to 2K. Yeah.
I got 2K in my 401k. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Living large, man. You're ready to retire.
You know, I might just deplete it, take a hit, and buy me a 2016 Stag.
Yeah, who needs to retire when you can just drink whiskey for the rest of your life?
Think about it. It's like I might die before I retire, or I could live life large until I die. So
yeah. Who needs to save money and leave it for your kids when you could just buy whiskey for yourself?
I love them, but they got to learn to live. They got to learn to earn money.
Yeah.
It all comes together.
My rating. So I said earlier that this beat GTS 2022 in a blind for me. I will say that night while I was doing that blind, I was trying to guess which one was which. And I guessed that this 13th Colony 15th anniversary was the GTS because it was the most flavorful. Nice. So maybe that wasn't the smartest way to be going about it. And maybe that's why I ended up saying that I liked it the most. So further assessment necessary. However, I will peg this at just barely an A+. This is at this is A+, but it's at the bottom end of A+ for me. And a lot of personal preference goes into this too, because do I think the masses would peg this at an A+ as well? No, I think the masses would peg it at like an A, but I really, really love impressively flavorful stuff and stuff that like punches you and sticks with you and gives you some notes. I really like the sugared pecan note that like hits home for me. So for me, it's barely an A+. I really, really like it. If it was a number score, it would easily be like a 9.3, 9.2, something up there. Nice. Very good. So yeah, all in all, really, really like it. Really happy to have one. And I'm actually going to savor this for a really long time.
I love it. All right. Now that we've talked about ratings, I think it's time for our next segment of the show, a segment that we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Whiskey World News, where we'd normally read an article, but today I'm just going to run some stuff by you here, where I was looking at Breaking Bourbon's upcoming releases for September, because I was looking at August. I was like, are we sure there's nothing cool coming out in August? There's nothing cool coming out in August.
Tis September when things kick off.
Yes.
It's like Old Forester Birthday Bourbon used to be the kickoff to the season.
That is in my list here in September, and it is true that September is the month that it really starts to kick off. October gets ridiculous. I won't even get into there yet, but September, as I was looking through the list here, I saw the new Booker's. Is coming out. In case you hadn't heard the name, the Booker's 2024-03 is called Master Distillers. I don't know anything about it. The name is just Master Distillers. A couple other fun ones, though. Fun ones to keep an eye out for, but let's be honest, nobody's going to see these. Four Roses 2024 limited edition small batch.
Nice.
King of Kentucky 2024 edition. And
we'll never see that.
Old Forester 2024 birthday bourbon, like you said.
Hey.
This is the beginning of the end of the year. Amazing stuff that drops at the end of the year. So obviously keep your eye out for these. But what I really wanted to talk about, and honestly, there's not much to say here, is this was new to me. I was hoping to catch Cole off guard. Have you heard of this, Cole? This is the 2024 Little Book, The Infinite.
Nope. Never heard of it until now.
Never heard of it. I hadn't heard of it at all myself either. And I saw it on Breaking Bourbon's list and I was like, what the heck is that? And I can't find any news about it. I can't find any press releases about it. All I can find is the label.
Nice.
Which I will read for you now. And it says Little Book, The Infinite Edition 1. So this is a new Little Book line, Edition 1. And I assume it is Booker No who is saying this.
No, it's Freddie No.
Freddie No. Oh, 8th generation. Yeah, I did my negative math wrong. 8th generation Freddie No says, I created this series to share 3 generations of my family's whiskey making craft. Every edition combines whiskeys from my granddaddy Booker, my dad Fred, and me. Year over year, the blend will keep evolving, as will our legacy. So in theory, they're taking
Infinity Blend.
Yeah. They're taking whiskey from many different years and blending it together. And I guess they'll do this year after year, maybe one edition a year, but this is edition 1.
Sounds like
so if you want to get started on the ground floor, this is the one to keep an eye out for.
I would try the first one. If I find a bottle at a reasonable price, I would probably try the first one. I wasn't always blown away by Little Book in general, but apparently they got better over time. But it would also be cool to have an edition number 1. Those things are special.
I know. Yeah. I agree. There's nothing about this idea that like excites me. Like there's nothing going on here that makes me say like, this is a whiskey that I want to drink. Like I can appreciate, also they're not very transparent in like, this is a blend of 24 year that my grandpa distilled, even if it's only like 2% of the blend. And
they might, it's just, this is just the label, you know, it might be more, you know.
Hopefully there is legit press releases coming out, but I at least wanted to put this on everyone's radar so you can keep an eye out. If you're a Little Book fan, this is an edition 1 of a new thing that's coming out, and you're going to want to keep your ear on the ground for this. So
totally. I'll keep an eye out for it with the new Virginia ABC thing that I'll probably never get
I will
anything good.
Okay. How much would you pay for this?
150 maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
If they try to go like 220 for this, I'm not even gonna try edition 1.
And for that reason, I'm out. Yeah.
Shark tanking over here.
Yep.
All right. Well, anyway, now that everyone is aware of the new little book, let's go to what whiskey would you choose? We have 2 to go through, actually. I only just teased the first one last week. We got some full results for you. But last week, the question that we asked you was, how much would you pay for Russell's 15? And I just wanted to get a gauge, first off, of are people willing to pay MSRP for this? Or do people think that MSRP is overvalued for this?
Yeah.
So the poll that I put out first, we got 62% of people saying that they wish it was under 250. They wish that MSRP had been lower. That is unfortunate that it was that high. We got 12% of people saying that they just absolutely have no plans of buying this at all. And 25% of people, so a quarter of the people who responded to this poll, said that they were willing to pay MSRP and a little bit higher, but not like crazy, not too much higher. So a quarter of the people are willing to pay over MSRP.
Yeah.
So, but we also wanted you to elaborate. What is your number? What are you actually willing to pay? We got a lot of write-ins on this one. This was a good one.
Dope.
So we got Dramhound hitting us up here. So Dramhound says up to 300 once I get an income rolling in again. Do we have any news on Dramhound? Does he have a job?
I think Dramhound's taking his good old time because he can.
He deserves it. Deserves to take some time.
Yeah, and enjoy the neighborhood pool with his daughter Willow.
I saw that.
You see that pool? That's a
nice and you
pool.
were like, is this at your house, man?
Yeah, seriously. I was like, are you serious? Is this your house? Because it was nice.
Yeah, chill filtered meetup at Dramhound's house.
Oh, and he would be down too. Yeah. Maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we got Kilted 518. Miles Ferguson says 150. That's about my limit for anything. And I agree. I think 150 is a lot. 150 is what we just said for the new Booker and Little Book release. 150 is a good threshold.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a new one though. We got Bourbon Stories up front. So Bourbon Stories up front says 300. He's willing to go a little over MSRP.
Nice.
We got Whiskey Drinking Panda in the house.
Joey T.
Pandas are willing to pay 150 for no, he says I paid 150 for the Prideful Goat 15. So I think Russell would be like 150 to 199. So he's hoping under 200. Again, couldn't agree more.
No more.
Oh, another new one. Slurpee. God, Slurpees, so good. Okay, all right. Side note on the Slurpees. I've got this like metal straw in my drawer, in my silverware drawer, that I still use like regularly to this day, that I got from buying a Slurpee from 7-Eleven on a vacation to Colorado with my mom in the year 2001, probably.
Nice.
So I have a
what part of Colorado?
It was Denver, I'm sure. And I was really big on the Denver Avalanche hockey team at the time too. They had just won the Stanley Cup, and like Patrick Waugh was like a god among goalies at the time and everything. This was before the playoffs where he like absolutely choked and they lost like 17-2 or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. It was bad. The headlines were Wah happened, like ROY happened. Wah happened.
That's funny.
Oh, so good. Okay. Anyway, enough about 23-year-old Slurpee straws
and old goalies.
Marco and AZ says $200. Thought it was supposed to be around $10 per year for your own juice. Like, what's going on here?
Well, I expected it to be more than $250. Because like the single rick house was how much?
300.
Yeah, maybe, I expected it to be like $450 for a 15 year.
Yeah. Well, at least they weren't that bad. But oh man, more new ones. Goldstone Gold Standard. Goldstone Gold Standard says 300 to 325. This dude is willing to shell out. He wants this real bad.
I can respect
Paul
that.
Clarkson. 21. Paul
What
Clarkson,
up?
our favorite. He says, never tried, but I would say 175. He'd pay 175 if he saw it.
That's a reasonable.
And we got Broaska Testwasa. He says,
Heyo.
he says less than anyone would sell it to me for. He acknowledged the fact that he doesn't want to spend too much on it. Most he's ever paid for a bourbon was 200, and that was for a stag. Oh man, paying 200 for a stag.
Dude, come down to Phoenix for a moment. Alberta to Phoenix flights and pick up 10 of them.
I will say also, he is not the only person that I know who's willing to pay 200 for a stag. I've heard of people hard up in Mississippi, Alabama, who are willing to pay 175, 200 for a stag. No problem.
I remember we lived in Phoenix, and one of those dumb liquor stores out in Phoenix had it on Drizzly for 130. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's hard. But looking back, it's like, that was worth it. Like,
yeah,
130 is actually reasonable for a stag these days. Well, not in the moment it is in Phoenix, but
those days. Yeah. Those days it totally was. And actually, just a matter of 6 months ago, maybe, I heard about a certain gas station in Southern Scottsdale that had stag. When they had it for 175. And there was a week where I heard that they were like getting some in soon. So like I called them like twice in a week because I was willing to pay 175 for a stag. Yeah. That was 6 months ago, but
and that was not when Kroger was Fry's was putting them out like candy.
Dude, we didn't even talk about that. Well, let me get the last one out of here real quick. So I teased this last week here, where my buddy Josh Jalfo, he says he was willing to pay 120, and honestly, like 120 is the budget, $10 per year, but I hope you peg it a little lower than that. So Josh was at 120. That was the last of the write-ins, but I will say, I told you about the Fry's events that are happening in the last week and a half, right? Yeah, so they've been going on, and they have so much stag that the way that they have their tables set up,
they like hand one out with every purchase.
You are 100% correct.
Oh, really?
You have to pay. You have to pay for it, of course. But what is it? 55 or 60? I can't remember. But you walk in. The line walks in single file.
You are complimentary stag.
Yes, you're handed a stag.
Wow.
And then you're able to buy one off table A, one off table B, or whatever. And like stag is its own table. So everyone through the line was able to get a stag and then proceed to table A and B and everything.
That's crazy.
And that number, that availability number, was about 220 or so on average.
That's
so the first 220 or so people in line got to grab a stag and then grab a Weller Full Proof or Weller 12, whatever was on the table by the time they got in there. They had Blanton straight from the barrel. They had at least 4 cases of CYPB on all these. On table A. So even if you were like 150th in line, if you'd gotten there only like 45 minutes early, you were getting a stag, you were getting a Weller 12, you were getting an E.H. Taylor single barrel on your first pass through the grocery store.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So value on stag. Yeah, I know, right? Value on stag is going down apparently.
Yeah. Sure. There's this. So I read the Bible. And there's this point where they're like the Israel like kingdom was so great that silver was like stones. It said it's like finding some silver is like finding rocks, like because it was like the value had gone. There was just so much silver in the land that like it just had gone down so much. Like everyone had silver.
Devalued. Yeah. There was so much stag for those Israelites.
They're worth like $30, or whatever the Israelite money was.
Moving into the next, what whiskey would you choose? So just this past episode, we asked you, hypothetically, of course, what is the dominant grain in your homemade whiskey, your mash bill? Yeah. What do you think it was? Just guess, just in case. Just guess what you think the top guess was for
listeners.
Yeah.
Corn.
Yeah, okay. I was hoping I would trick you into maybe saying something else, but corn just by a hair. So our listeners said 42% are going to be corn dominant, and 33%, just 9% less, are going to say rye dominant.
And then we got a few multi bees, baby.
Yeah, of course we did. And actually, 0% said wheat dominant.
Yeah. Screw Bernheim.
Yeah, right. And we got 25% multi bees. So a quarter of the people want to do some malted barley.
Nice.
Dominant.
I saw Miles Ferguson was one of those.
Makes
sense.
Kilted 518
nerd.
Kilted 518. Miles Ferguson says total multi bee.
He's my single malt nerd.
I'd get some used for brewing a heavily peated Scotch ale. Scotch ale. Ooh.
And then he'd distill it.
Yeah, I like that. Right in from Dramhound here. He says heavy corn or heavy rye mash bills. I happily switch between the two.
Nice.
Whiskey Drinking Panda says I'm going Canadian. Canadian pandas.
I dig his answer.
He says he's going Canadian. He would mash and distill separately and would then blend them. That's actually really cool. I like scientifically, I really like that idea. Yeah. I didn't even think of that. We got Marco NAZ here. He says 78% white corn, 17% rye.
Why it's got to be white
5%
corn?
Maltese, which is the MB Rollin mash bill. And he hopes to smoke some of that corn. Smoked corn, man?
No, you remember you weren't. I think it wasn't you, but I think it's maybe in the pool is the dark fired corn. Maybe not.
No idea.
MB Rollin.
No idea.
But go on.
But I know I drank some MB Rollin the other day. Actually, that was like surplus from the pool, and yeah, it was good. I liked it.
We only have malts from MB Rollin at this point.
We have what?
Never mind. MB Rollin is not in the pool.
Okay. Last one here though, Bro Askatestwase. He says mostly. Oh, I don't know about this. Tabor corn, TABER corn.
Sounds Canadian.
Sounds Canadian. With 20% Alberta rye and a touch of malty bees. Keep it local, he says.
Love it.
I love it.
But so we got a question this week, don't we?
We do have a question this week. And our question this week is, we are interested in hearing who else other than Chill Filtered
if you got anyone else.
Yeah, I know, right? If you only watch Chill Filtered, then obviously write in Chill Filtered. But there's got to be someone else out there watching. We want to know who it is that you're watching for your reviews. Who are you tuning into? You see they post a new review. You want to see what they have to say. So other than Chill Filtered, what whiskey YouTuber are you watching the most? So Cole, other than ourselves, who are you watching the most?
No, I'm kidding. I don't watch me much anymore. I used to watch like every episode. But definitely ADHD whiskey. Love Matt Porter. Love his randomness. Love his meandering. Love his jokes. And love to see what he thinks of certain whiskeys. I'm very intrigued, especially when something that I've kept in my mind he reviews. So I will usually watch ADHD whiskey. Not all of his episodes, not all of his videos at least, but most of them I will watch.
There was a cool one just within the last day or so. He had scored Maker's Mark cellar aged.
Nice.
And then he had randomly pulled it for a 1 ounce Wednesday. And his original score for Maker's Mark cellar aged was 8.2. And then when he pulled it randomly and had no idea what it was, his score was 8.2 something. Like he scored it within like hundredths of a decimal place compared to the last one. He had such a like similar opinion about it. I thought it was really cool. So yeah,
that is cool.
I'm definitely catching a lot of Matt Porter as well. However, I got to give a shout out to Drums and Drams. So Cam from Drums and Drams, I love his production and like I swear I could just like watch that dude sit and talk for like days.
Oh, that's cool.
I love the way and like he's got, I feel like there are subtleties here where his camera is placed a little bit above his sight line. So you as the viewer are kind of looking down on him and he's looking up at you, and everything he's saying is so like cool, calm, and eloquent. Just like he's awesome. I think that dude knows how to make a YouTube video. So Drums and Drams, shout out to you. I love it.
That's cool.
And hope to see you on Matt Madness, actually. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Is he on this year's Matt Madness? Surely.
Probably, because he was the winner 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's I think he's in. He's got to buy to the end. So anyway, maybe I'll see you
if you
there.
Don't believe me, look it up.
Yeah. Cole's not bitter about it at all or anything.
No, but it was close, and it was probably his fault because he there was like a triple the points on the Fireball sample.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Too funny.
Yeah. So no, but that's good. Yeah, let us know who your favorite YouTubers or whiskey creators are next time we put out our what whiskey would you choose this week. So next week I will probably have to you the Russell's 15 sample.
Oh my gosh.
That against something else?
No, 100%. I want to do Russell's 15 ASAP, man. Let's do that.
Yeah, I'll send you 2. One for the pool, one for the episode.
Bueno. Oh man, I'm extra excited to be able to blind review that at some point in the future. True. That sounds super fun.
Yeah, that's what it's all about here on Chill Filtered. Yeah, except for like I love it. It's probably like discouraging to your average person if they were, like Matt Porter, if he were to give, an 8.2 score, like a 9.8 on another thing. But like for me, it's like I'm down. Like when we did the Starward Lagavulin cask, I was like, this is good. But I don't remember scoring it as high on the episode. But I love seeing that because I'm like, hey, I'm down to see it. I mean, even like Traveler wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been.
But it
wasn't great. More. But it was like I expected. I would have paid. If I had just blinded it at first, I said like 85 or something like that. But having drank it more, I would probably said 50, probably. But that's higher than it was, and it's. I can't for what people hate.
Yeah, I feel like my sentiment about it was. It's hard to not let the afterthought, knowing what it is now, kind of tarnish or try to backpedal and explain myself. Like there's no backpedaling, there's no explaining myself. Like what I tasted in the moment is what I tasted in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think I pegged it around $70-$75, which is twice as much as the bottle's worth. And it had a thickness. The mouthfeel of it was absolutely not a 30 or 40, whatever it is, dollar whiskey to me. I think I was really impressed by how thick and creamy and a little bit of banana, I think I said. So I was impressed by it. But obviously, actions speak louder than words. I didn't run out and buy a bottle or anything.
Yeah.
But I thought that it was actually pretty freaking solid.
Yeah. No, I mean the bubblegum notes. I don't hate on bubblegum notes, but I remember thinking like this is kind of unidirectional with bubblegum, but I was worth more than I thought I would take because I had never had it before at that point. So I was like, this is decent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love being proven wrong. And I love the blind because it shows you what you truly think of something. So
yep. Well, I hope that our future blind episodes continue to prove certain things to us about whiskeys that we may have had a tainted opinion of ahead of time.
Yeah. I hope you have a chance at tying my score of 2 seasons to 1.
I hope so too. I hope Emma had a good time at Emma daycare today.
Nice. I hope Emma was just loving life today and tomorrow and every day from here on. But most of all, listeners, I hope that Emma gets a really good sleep tonight and that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. It's like, where's your potty? in space, Brett. In space.